Maybe a bit late and not joy. I just wanna hold you close. Baby, let me know if I'm doing the most. It's okay if you wanna know. It's been a while.
Our speaker this morning, Nhi Nguyen, has over 9 years of experience in advertising and design. Her diverse backgrounds working with agencies, in-house teams, and as a freelancer brings a unique and knowledgeable perspective to every project. Her passion lies in creating impactful work for progressive collective action, inviting others to embrace creativity for a more just and equitable world. How awesome is that? As awesome as her work. Everybody, help me welcome Nhi Nguyen to the Creative Morning stage.
Good morning, happy Friday. This is a good creative morning, if I must say so myself. My name is Nhi Nguyen. I am so excited to be here today. And I would like to take some time to express my gratitude for everyone that made it out here this morning. It's Friday, it's early, but I always like to take a moment to express any sort of gratitude and appreciation any chance I can. And I wouldn't blame you if you didn't come here for me and you came here for the free tacos, coffee, and live music. But honestly, we're all here. So I think that's a great a round of appreciation for everyone here. But before we dive into today's theme, I wanted to give just a little introduction about myself. I'm a second generation Vietnamese American creative here in Austin, Texas. Also, hailing from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I moved here in 2017, so I've been here almost 7 years now, and I absolutely love Austin. It's a super creative city, and everyone's so vibrant and lovely and lively, and I'm really glad to be here today. So just to give you some more information about myself throughout my time here in Austin, I actually work for an advertising agency called Tilted Chair Creative. Two of my coworkers are here, right here, Michaela and Caitlin. Thank you for coming out. But yeah, I've been doing this work for several years now. And by day, I do a lot of branding design, web design, and ad campaign work. But by night, I also like to do a lot of hand lettering and illustration. And a lot of that work focuses around things that I care about or my core values. And as you can see here, some of the work that I've put together is around mental health, social justice issues, and my experiences as an Asian American. So that brings us to today's theme, which is trust. And trust can shape our lives, not only personally, but also along our creative journeys. And it would be remiss for me to not bring up the fact that I reflected on this myself, just thinking about my younger self and how trust got me here today and turned me into the person that I am today. And I realized that trust has actually been a constant theme in my life, right? Whether or not I've truly acknowledged it or I've consciously recognized it, by building trust in myself throughout my life, it's honestly helped me gain a better sense of self. And so today I would like to use it as an opportunity with everyone here to explore, this intersectionality of trust and building trust within yourself and your creativity. Cute little Venn diagram here. We always love a good Venn diagram. But ultimately, I think that trust enables our ability to align with your best self. And if you feel your best self, you're then able to create your best work. But to understand trust, first, we must define it. So the first step into this process is, what is trust? And I pulled this from dictionary.com. Trust is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. Or in our case, trust is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of creativity and yourself. And trust is the foundation of any sort of good relationship, especially with the relationship that you have with yourself. And in the context of creativity, trust enables us to basically explore new ideas. It also allows us to take risks And trust also gives us opportunity to continue to grow. And being a creative, I think a lot of these things are especially important, right? But to build trust, you must know yourself. So that brings us to our next step, is to discover yourself, who you are as a person, and how you can define your values. So for me, I like to ask myself a bunch of questions during this sort of discovery phase of who I am. And I like to think of it as, just collecting data on yourself, essentially. So I have a few questions here. It's not limited to, or you can ask as many questions as you want, but the what and why are kind of interchangeable, right? So what and why do you like or don't like something? What and why do certain things, bring you joy? Take note of it. And what and why are things that you care about? And what and why are things that give you sort of a sense of purpose? So again, just collecting data on yourself. And once you live according to your values, and you can start to ask those questions and start to define your values. And once you live according to those values, you start to create a solid foundation of self-trust. So by taking note of my own discovery process, I wrote down this statement. I enjoy meaningful conversations with people because it allows me to understand them and who they are as a person. So taking the question of, what brings me joy and why, my what is meaningful conversations with people, and my why is because it allows me to understand who they are as a person. And at the end of the day, I define my core values. I value humanity. So now that I've defined, a core value of mine, I value humanity, now I can ask myself, how can I apply this core value that I have into my creative process or my everyday life or into decisions that I'm making every day to start to build upon that trust? Which brings us to step 3, embracing discomfort and growing from that. And something that has always resonated with me as a person is understanding that growth doesn't come from comfort zones. And in fact, growth and comfort rarely, coexist. And a lot of times I will put myself out there, hence today, knowing that in the long run, just exploring new experiences or putting myself out there, I know will better me in the long run, and it will better serve me and will bring me a new perspective on how I can approach different problems or situations or life in general. And that brings us again to embracing discomfort. So one of the ways to start to build that trust amongst yourself is to embrace discomfort. And then from here, I like to ask myself some questions like, what opportunities can I find myself in, like on a Friday morning at South by Southwest Center? And how can I put myself out there by just connecting with people and embracing who I am as a person and expressing my core values? So things like that looks different for everyone. And as it pertains to, a sort of creative process, that can look like trying out new techniques or exploring different mediums. That could also mean collaborating with different people that you've never collaborated with before, or also presenting your work to new audiences, or in my case, again, speaking in front of a room full of strangers and also some people that I know. But yeah, it looks like different for everyone, and it's just a matter of, again, collecting data, trying to see what works and what doesn't. But yeah, each time you step outside of your comfort zone, you start to grow as a person and you start to learn how to trust yourself. Again, figuring out what works for you, what doesn't, what aligns with you, what doesn't, what you connect with. Again, just collecting data on yourself. And once you're able to evaluate that data and distill that sort of information, you naturally start to build, your own confidence, your self-trust, and you get to reinforce that idea of yourself, which leads us into step 4. So once you start to build a good foundation of who you are and who you are as a person, you can start to apply it within setting goals or objectives. And so setting clear objective goals is a really powerful way, again, to build upon your foundation of trust. And when you set a goal, you prove to yourself consciously or subconsciously that you can follow through, again, building on that sense of trust. Take a shot every time I say trust. But yeah, just think about the last time you checked something off your list, or you paid off a car payment, you paid off your car loan. Those are really exciting things. And it's just really fun to be able to explore yourself and set goals for yourself. And again, just build upon that sort of trust. And this is a framework that a lot of people use. It's called setting SMART goals, but SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. And this is just a really objective way to look at how you're setting your goals. And so referring back to my core value-based statement from earlier, I enjoy meaningful conversations with people because it allows me to understand who they are as a person. I've defined specific objectives for each of these acronyms, right? So for my specific objective here, I will have meaningful conversations with at least 4 people to gain a new perspective by the end of this week. And then my measurable objective is I will track the number of conversations I have during this week and make note on who they are as a person. And then achievable, I will engage with at least 2 people every day until tomorrow, which is Saturday. And then relevant, understanding, these diverse perspectives can inspire my creative process and ultimately enhance my work. And then time bound, I will start this goal right after this talk. So if you would like to help me meet my goals, come and talk to me. But throughout this time of setting objective goals and things like that, it's really important to take the time to celebrate even the tiniest wins. I think it's just really important, again, to just be intentional about just appreciating where you are in your journey and having that carry you through. And then finally, we reach to step 5, ultimately integrating trust more purposefully. So once you start to feel good about yourself and really self-assured, you can start to implement and you can start to integrate and implement trust more purposefully into your creative process or your everyday life. And now that we're fully aware that trust is a constant companion throughout our journey, throughout our lives, this idea of trust presents itself more intentionally, right? So we can start to integrate it by obviously calling back to your goals or referring back to the goals and objectives that you have. You start to learn to trust your instincts a lot more. And then you're definitely a lot more open and receptive to feedback. I think as a creative, it's important that you don't take things personally, because that's just a very slippery slope and we're not going to go down that hill. But also finding folks that you trust. Once you start to trust yourself, other people start to trust in you. And then I think because you're so self-assured, you're able to have that sense of self to where you can build a community that you can rely on to be truthful with you and to help you grow as a person. And so ultimately, I want people to understand that self-trust makes room for authentic and impactful creative work that ultimately aligns with you. This is something that, really rings true to me. And so I wanted to recap some just key takeaways on the steps that I've presented today on how to build trust within yourself and your creative process into 5 just simple steps. First is understanding trust. What is it? Then discovering yourself, defining your goals, and then embracing that sort of discomfort and growing from there. And then setting goals and objectives for yourself, and then how to integrate that more purposefully. But that's like the lame version of my takeaways. Something I might regret this later, and this is going to be filmed, and this is not as good as Bro's Fresh performance, but as I was working on this presentation, the song by the Divinals was in my head, and so I'm going to sing this today, and I hope you leave with this. When I think about me, I trust myself. So I'll just leave you with that. Thank you very much.